up, everybody? Welcome to Real Talk with Chris and Travis. I'm Travis.
And I'm Chris.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Real Talk with Chris and Travis. So today we're talking about traveling with a disability. And we might, touch on some things that we touched on in previous videos, but with this video, we're going to, mainly talk about our experiences traveling because everybody's experience is different, especially with disabilities. Every experience traveling with a disability is different for each person. And so, we're just going to take it from there. I know I've only flown on a plane one time. And my flying experience wasn't all that bad. Coming home was kind of bad. I got sick. To this day, I don't know what made me sick.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, you might have got air sick. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Air sick?
Yeah, but I wasn't on the plane when I got sick, though.
Okay.
And it scared me because, it was my first time flying. I wasn't in Baton Rouge, and they wouldn't let me get on the plane because I was sick. They was like, you're going to have to wait for the next plane, and that might be 30, 45 minutes.
So you was ground sick?
I must have been. I might have been just sick, missing Louisiana. I don't know what. I just know I was sick as a dog, and they wouldn't let me fly, man. I was scared out of my mind because I thought I wasn't going to get home. You know what I'm saying? But what I learned is, you always get home. Always. I ain't know. You know what I'm saying? But I remember going from, I had to go to Arkansas for training for work. This was years ago. And I remember going from Baton Rouge Airport to Dallas Airport. And Dallas Airport, if you've never been there, it is huge.
Yeah.
It's big. And I was by myself, right? At the gate where they told me to go. And I remember my grandmother, she was like, before I left, she was like, make sure you get with the people that, so you can get your wheelchair there and push you around at the gate. I ain't see them people. I don't know if they was on a lunch break, was they hiding? I don't know. But I made it to the gate where I was supposed to be. And I wound up asking the person, like, is this the flight for Bentonville, Arkansas? They was like, yeah, you're 45 minutes early. So I'm like, oh, okay. And they was like, well, had you had anything to eat? Because it was early in the morning. And I was like, nah, I ain't had anything to eat. And they was like, why don't you go right next door? It's right here. Outside the little entranceway, just go right there. And they got some good food there and stuff like that. So I'm like, cool. Again, mind y'all, this was my first time flying. So it's a lot of stuff I did not know. And I'm sitting there eating my food. I had some grits and eggs, some toast. It was some good food. I'm sitting there eating my food. And 2-3 minutes into eating my food, the little intercom thing came on and said, all flights for Bentonville, Arkansas, your gate has been changed to gate D, like D1 or something like that. My gate was gate A.
I hate when they do that.
So, me not knowing that I had time, I'm thinking they was finna board the plane. I got up, threw my food in the trash, right? And grabbed my suitcase and took off running out the restaurant, ran around the corner back to the gate where I was. And the people in the restaurant, they stopped me before I got outside the restaurant. They was like, hey, was the food okay? Is everything all right? I'm like, well, no. I think I'm finna miss my flight, stuff like that. I'm going to Bentonville, Arkansas. And they was like, yeah, we noticed they just said your gate had changed. And the people was like, you don't have to worry, you know what I'm saying? You still have time. Well, I didn't know that. So I had threw my food in the trash. And they was like, you don't have to run around. They got people with wheelchairs, stuff like that. So the lady at the restaurant, she was like, just stay here. And I'm going to get the people with the wheelchair to meet you here. So she got somebody, I guess, from the gate I was at already. And they came with the wheelchair. And I got in the wheelchair and stuff like that. And they was going to push me to the next gate that I was supposed to go to. Well, I didn't know that the people in the restaurant had fixed me another plate of food. Seeing as how this was my first time flying and a lot of stuff I didn't know. So, we got to the gate D. I'm like, bro, I'm hungry. My stomach touching my back. So, I'm sitting there, and the lady came. She was like, sir, I got your food. And I'm like, did she get this out the trash? I'm like, man, how did you? And she was like, no, sir. We fixed you another plate. And I was like, well, I wasn't trying to buy 2 plates. And she was like, no, you don't have to pay for it. We just wanted you to have a good experience being that this is your first time flying, and stuff like that. And, they fixed me another plate. She brought me the plate at my gate, I'm talking about, like, I felt like a boss. That was good service. And she was like, man, just eat your food. I just want you to have a good flight. You know, be safe, be careful, have a good day. And she left. And I'm sitting there like, man, that go to show you how God be looking out for people. You know what I'm saying? Like he be looking out, man. Cause
It's them disability privileges, man.
what you say?
Disability privileges.
See what I'm saying? right there. You know, and so that was, that had never happened to me before. So I mean, like but I learned, and that's the whole purpose of doing something is to learn. That's the whole purpose of watching this podcast. If you're a person who you may have just newly become disabled, or maybe you have a child, and your child is disabled. The purpose of this podcast is to let you learn from our experiences, so that you may, know what to expect being disabled yourself. And again, every experience is different. Travis, has traveled to more places than I have. So I'm gonna let him talk about his experience.
Yeah, man, I've flown a few times. I mean, my first time flying, I was terrified, man.
I know I was.
I was thinking, my biggest fear was my chair being lost somewhere, and I'm like stranded. That was my biggest fear. Cause I know you heard stories of people losing the airport losing their luggage.
Right.
So I'm thinking, man, if they lose my chair, I'm gonna be stranded. And I know with the airport wheelchairs, you can only use the chair in the airport. You can't take it out the airport.
So okay, I got a question. If they lose I hate to say your wheelchair, but if they lose the wheelchair, right? So you can't there's no place in the airport that's gonna sell you another chair for you to have.
No. I don't believe so. They just have like the airport wheelchairs, and you can't take them out the airport. You can only use them in the airport.
If it was me, I'd have had to steal that day. So I hate to say that, being the Christian that I am. Lord, I love you,
Yeah.
but you see where I'm coming with that? Like I just had to.
Yeah, I mean that was just my biggest fear, but it never happened. But I mean, I have had experience while I was flying with this certain airline, and I had a window seat this day, right?
Okay.
So I'm boarding the plane. I'm on the plane or whatever, getting in my seat, and I can see the guy loaded my chair, and it's like he was having a hard time trying to fold it, right? Or trying to figure out how to fold it after I told him how to fold it.
Right.
So he was down there kicking it and just slamming it. I'm like, man, what is this dude doing? So some lady came back on the plane and asked me for my back part of my chair, because it had the tag on there of where it was going, and I gave it to her, and I'm like, hey, who is this guy down here kicking my chair? And I'm like, I'm recording, so you better let him know that if he wants his job or this airline don't want a lawsuit, let him know.
This ain't football practice.
Right. So I mean, she got the back of my chair or whatever, so she can put it with my chair so they know where it's going. And she let him. I saw her go down there and tell him, and he was being careful with it this time. Like he stopped kicking it.
He should have been careful the first time.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not that hard. All you gotta do is pull it up in the middle and fold it.
Maybe he was a little slow.
I don't know, but I mean, they were throwing the luggages on the little belt too. So I guess.
Yeah, I done heard horror stories about that.
But yeah, that was pretty much my horror story with the airlines. I mean, that only happened to me once.
And see, when I flew, I think they put the crutches in the overhead bin.
Okay.
I'm not sure, because when I got to, I flew from Baton Rouge to Arkansas. When I got to Arkansas, I didn't have to wait for the crutches. Like when they put me in the chair in the Arkansas airport, they laid the crutches in my lap. So I don't know if they had them on the plane. See what I'm saying? Because coming from under the plane, that would have took more time, right?
They probably put them in the little closet right there by the pilot. They got a closet.
Probably so.
Because I know when I flew, they put my seat cushion in that closet where the pilot at. So yeah, they probably had it up in there.
That's why I'm wondering, because they gave them to me. You know what I'm saying? Even though they put me in a wheelchair, they gave me the crutches. Because I guess they, like you say, you can't take the chair out the airport. But man, I just remember like I experienced some good and some bad, traveling by myself.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time in my life ever traveling by myself. Another good thing that I experienced is when I got off the plane in Bentonville, Arkansas's airport, all the people that was like supposed to be coming for the training, we all had on the company shirts. So I was able to locate all of them. And they pretty much like stayed with me to make sure I had my luggage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then when we got on the little shuttle bus and it took each group to the hotel, everything was good, until we got in the hotel. Now, for this, what I'm about to say, I think that this is good to stand out in a crowd. I've said it multiple times. Travis did too on this podcast. How when you're disabled, especially if you're the only disabled person in the group, you're gonna stand out. But sometimes you have to verbally stand out. My thing is, if I'm the new person in somewhere, I'll ask questions, but I won't say much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this particular incident, we stayed in this hotel, and everybody who got off the shuttle bus with me was like, everybody's gonna go to their rooms, and we're gonna put our stuff down, and we're gonna come back downstairs, and we all gonna go eat somewhere. Well, I had never been to Arkansas, so when I put my stuff down in the room, I came back downstairs and couldn't find anybody. So I went to the front desk and I asked the lady there, I was like, did you see the group that I was with? And I said the name of the company. I'm not going to drop the name on the podcast, but I said the name of the company. And she was like, oh yeah, they all left 5 minutes ago to go get something to eat.
Dang.
And I was like, they left me. And she said, could I help you with anything? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, if I just said I was looking for, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, well, ma'am, do they have any vending machines here in the hotel? She was like, no, we don't. That was kind of weird, too, because I've never been to a hotel that didn't have vending machines.
That's usually like a standard thing.
That's what I thought, too, but she said they didn't have, because I would have been just fine. Go to the vending machine, grab some snacks, grab a drink, go back to the room, chill out, I'm good.
Or like a little snack bar. They ain't have no snack bar?
She said, I didn't ask about like a snack bar, but I did ask about the vending machines.
Okay.
I just wasn't thinking straight. If I'd have been really thinking straight, I'd have asked them, could I order a pizza, have it sent to the hotel?
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking. At this point, my mind was kind of running, and she said, if you hungry, she said, there is a sandwich place. I guess it's kind of like a Subway, off to the right. Once you walk out of the sidewalk leading to the hotel driveway, you would take a right and walk. She said so many miles. She was like, it's not a long walk. She said, but for somebody like me, it was going to be a long walk. And I'm like, okay. And she said, you can go to the right. It's like a sandwich shop. There, you can get food. She said, you can go to the left. It's multiple food places. She said, but sir, that's a very long walk. It's going to be very long. Now, mind y'all, I had never been to Arkansas. I was by myself. And at the time we got to the hotel, it's maybe 4 or 5:30 in the afternoon. It's late.
Yeah.
So, if you know me, I move slow. Due to cerebral palsy, I can run, but if I run, it ain't going to be no long time running. So, by the time I walked and got to the sandwich shop, it had to be 6:20. You know what I'm saying? Like it. I was glad it wasn't one of them times where like it was daylight savings where it's get dark fast and stuff like that. Because if it would have been one of them times, I'd have been stuck. You see what I'm saying? Walking from the hotel to the sandwich shop, there was a sidewalk, but there was no street lights, no other businesses that had lights on them. It was just a big field.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the sun is up, it's daylight, So I got to the sandwich shop. I got my food and stuff like that. That took some time. I got my food, and I'm sitting there wondering, I just sit in the restaurant and eat, and then go back to the hotel. Well, by the time I get my food, it's getting darker outside. Plus, the clouds had started kind of gathering up, and it was kind of thundering, that low rumble thunder or whatever, like a storm was coming.
Yeah.
It was like that. So I knew I can't let it get dark on me because there ain't no lights between the food place and the hotel. And I don't want to get stuck walking in the dark, not being from here and not knowing how to get around.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed my food. The people at the restaurant was real nice. They double bagged it for me and everything. And I clutched my food and just walked or ran or whatever as fast as I could to the hotel. Thank God that by the time I got to the hotel driveway, the first little few raindrops started falling. And I was able to run, up under the little covering and go into the hotel before the bottom dropped out.
Dang.
So I wound up crushing my sandwich in my hand, but I still was able to eat it. I went to bed full, what I'm saying? It was a scary experience for me. But it ended well.
I say a scary experience for me was when I forgot I went somewhere. There was a beach,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the beach. Right, it was my first time actually rolling my sand deep in the sand, rolling my chair in the sand. I mean,
Okay.
so I didn't know that if I got sand in my the little small wheels in the front,
Mm-hmm.
that it would mess up the screws.
Mm.
So once I got out of the sand, back onto the sidewalk, it's like my chair was hard to roll. And I'm like, man, what's going on? And I can hear the wheel squeaking, like a real squeaking, loud squeak noise. So I'm pushing. I'm like, man, it's so hard to roll. So I'm like pushing harder and harder, and I can hear the wheel crack.
Mm.
I'm like, oh dang. And it started to lean a little bit. I'm like, oh man, my wheel broke. So I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do? So I started Googling wheelchair repair places in this nearby or whatever.
Okay.
They were all closed. I'm like, oh man. So the person I was with, they had to pretty much like lift me up to roll me. That way I don't tip over. So the next day, I saw that they opened that morning or whatever. So I called them, told them the situation. They was able to rig it up a little bit. I mean, it was a little quick fix, but it ain't really fix it completely.
Okay.
But it got me while I was there. So now when I go places, I make sure there's a wheelchair repair place or a Walgreens.
Okay.
I know Walgreens. You can buy a chair or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I make sure that there's beach chairs you can rent.
Okay.
That way I ain't gotta bring my chair and risk messing up a wheel and getting stranded somewhere.
With the beach chairs, do you know if is it a cost for them or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Certain states. I mean, I've been to California, and it was free rentals. Yeah, it's free rentals out there in California, and it's first come first serve.
Okay.
Also Florida.
Okay.
First come first serve, free rentals for a certain time though, from 9 to 6 or something like that. But I mean, I think it's a good thing, to be able to have the free rentals, That way you ain't got to risk bringing your chair out there on the sand and messing some wheels up, not knowing how it might, hold up against that sand,
Yeah, because I know that was completely unexpected. I myself I would have thought, the wheels was all terrain or something that you would have been able to roll.
Nah.
Man.
Once that sand got up in them wheels, man, it messed it up.
Dang. That's some wild stuff, man. Wheelchairs is just like cars. You gotta have certain things on your car to make it through certain.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, that's true.
See, I think at the beach, the worst experience I ever had was my crutch would go down in the sand, and one time it went so down in the sand so deep that when I was trying to get it out of there, I actually pulled the crutch out to stop it. The whole rubber bottom was just in the sand, and I was like,
dang.
But luckily, my dad, he actually was able to, we had to dig it out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we dug it out, and just, I was able to push it back down in there, and I heard it click, but we had to knock the sand out the tube and all that.
Yeah.
It was a whole experience, bro. Now what I do, if I'm with somebody, which most of the time I never travel by myself, they'll, I'll leave the crutches in the car, and I'll just hold on to that person, like hold their arm or something like that, so that the stoppers don't go down in the sand.
Okay.
Or they'll carry the crutches, and I'll hold on to their arm until we get to where because the wet sand, it don't go down in that because it's not as deep as the dry sand.
Yeah.
If that make any sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Now if I'm by myself, I guess I just want to go to the beach. I don't know. I mean,
stay on the sidewalk.
But it's it's when you go away from home. You know what I'm saying? Some things you gotta have that's just like home. You know what I'm saying?
Also, go back to the airport thing. I mean, if you have a disability, it's good to actually call the airline that you're flying with and let them know, hey, I got a disability. I'm gonna need, XYZ.
Yeah.
And they'll, once you get there to the airport, you go up to wherever gate you're supposed to be at. Let them know, hey, I'm here, so they can know to board you on first.
Yeah, and maybe I should have done that when I first. See what I'm saying? Instead of just looking for the people with the wheelchairs, maybe I should have found I guess the customer service or guest relations, whatever they, go to them. Hey, I have cerebral palsy. Do y'all have anybody that could help me get to my gate or something like that? And again, like I said earlier, man, whether you by yourself or whether you with a group, you got to be more verbal. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned from my experience. I asked questions, but I didn't say enough. You know what I'm saying? And it turns out the company that I was being flown in for training, they actually had accommodations for me, but it was the next day in the training course. It wasn't like, hey, when he gets off the plane, this is what we have for him and stuff like that. So that part was on me, But of course, at the time I flew, I think none of my family members except for my grandmother had flown at that time. And so that's why she was telling me about the wheelchair thing. But I'm thinking when I come in the airport, they going to see the crutches, they going to see I'm disabled, and they going to come up to me with the wheelchair. That didn't happen. So, I had to be more verbal. I kind of, closed mouth don't get fed, kind of, sort of. So.
Yeah, I know when I book my flights, man, I call them know ahead of time. Then I call back again and let them know, hey, I'm checking in tomorrow. I need XYZ, then once I get there, I'm going to the, the person at the gate, letting them know again, I'm here.
I'm here.
So,
Champ is here, yeah. And let's talk a bit about these hotels for a minute.
Yeah.
I know we touched on hotels in a couple of episodes, but in this episode here, I kind of just want to. We already know, okay, we gotta verbalize. You gotta maybe phone ahead a day or two. Hey, is your hotel handicap accessible? If they tell you yeah, don't hang up the phone.
Nah.
Go in more detail. Do your hotel have this? In your case, does it have a roll-in shower? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I definitely tell them I need a roll-in shower. I need a king-size bed.
Okay. In my case, do you have rails in the bathroom? Because I've had situations where, the floor is wet and I'm getting out the tub or the shower, the floor is wet. I'm by the wall, but my hands are wet. Losing my balance, put my wet hand on the wall, slip and fall. So do y'all have rails in the bathroom? You know what I'm saying? Maybe even a little seat built into the wall for me to sit down on. If I've been walking all day, my legs might be tired.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, do y'all have that? Because just accepting, oh yeah, we're handicap accessible, and then you get there, you done paid your money. You know what I'm saying? You're not from here, and it's like this is not what I need.
Right.
What do you do in that situation?
I mean, they're gonna have to accommodate you, man. I mean, they're gonna have to find a way, or you're gonna have to find a different hotel.
Had you ever had that happen where they wouldn't accommodate you?
No.
So you had to find.
No.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I don't think they really want them. Want them problems.
I know that's right. I know. I've never had to switch hotels and stuff like that. My biggest thing with being away from home is when I go to a hotel, I need space to move. If it's too closed in, if it's too tight, if it's too small, the way I move, when I move from side to side. I rock. My feet drag. Despite my best effort to pick them up, they drag. And when that happens, If the space is too small, my foot is hitting the wall, it's hitting the door frame, and I'm gonna trip, you know. And I've through the years I've learned to make adjustments so I don't fall. But if the space is too tight, I can't move around without tripping, you know. So I need space. I need, you know, kind of a wide doorway, you know. Like I said, the bathroom have to have rails. The rails are nice. You know, I don't lose my balance a lot, but when I do, if it's nothing for me to grab out to, I'm gone. You know.
Yeah.
And I've had situations where I have fallen and have hit the floor or the ground hard. You know what I'm saying? And it's painful. So, you know, I don't want it. I'm on vacation to have a good time, not to go to the hospital. You know.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, I mean, as far as when I get a hotel room, is just like the roll-in shower. Pretty much the bathroom is my biggest concern. Everything else I can just manage.
What about the door? Like the doorways going into the hotel?
I mean, the doorway has got to be wide too. Like the doorways in the bathroom was my biggest concern.
Yeah.
Everything else I don't really care about.
Yeah, because I mean I've been in some tight spaces as far as doorways, and the best thing I could tell you is I had to turn sideways and just like keep the crutches close to me. You know what I'm saying? Because if I like let's say I had a situation where I can't remember where I was, but we don't name drop anyway. But it was like there was a doorway that was kind of narrow, but going out the doorway or coming in the doorway, they had a flight of steps you had to go up.
Okay.
And the steps were small, with no rail. So like, if I didn't keep the crutches with me, I wouldn't be able to get up or down the stairs unless I crawl. You know what I'm saying? So what I would do is I'd keep the crutches with me, but then if I go out the door or come in the door, I can't put them down because I need them to balance on the steps. So I just had to like stick them outside the door and then turn my body kind of like this to wiggle my way through the door frame.
Yeah.
And it scared me because I'm like, I hope the crutch don't slip on the steps. You know what I'm saying? But again, I always had somebody with me. You know, and most times when people are with me, they'll get in front of me going down the stairs. You know, or even like going up the stairs, they'll get behind me. Going down the stairs, they'll get in front of me. That way, if I fall going forward, they can catch me.
Yeah.
If I fall back, you know, they're going to catch me. So, and that's the adjustments I had to make, you know, going up and down stairs. Now, if they have rails, with the rails, I'm a lot better. It's a lot safer. No rails is way too dangerous.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
Yeah, and I will also say that like if you're making like hotel reservations with like these like third-party apps or whatever, make sure you call the hotel and let them know, hey, I made a reservation through XYZ. I need my room to be accessible. I need a roll-in shower. I need, you know, 2 beds or one sink.
That detachable shower head.
Yeah, one.
It need to be hanging down already.
Right. 1 or 2 beds. You know, you gotta specify. You can't just
see the sign say handicap accessible and leave it at that.
Right, because
you're gonna. If you like me, it's gonna ruin the vacation when I see all that and it's like, this ain't gonna.
Because sometimes the hotel's term of handicap accessible is not really your term of, you know, accessible.
Right.
So you gotta really call them and specify exactly what you need.
Right. You know, and for me, I've never taken a train. I've never taken a bus as far as like a trip on a bus, and I haven't been on a cruise yet. That's a goal I'm working towards. So, you know, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of handicap accessible accommodations they have. But the biggest tip I take away from this podcast today, you know, I always say you're supposed to learn something new every day. And what I learned is you have to verbalize. It's as simple as that. You got to call ahead 2 or 3 days in advance, and you got to ask a lot of questions. People say ask the right questions, but sometimes you don't know what the right question is. Right? Sometimes. So I say don't worry about asking the right question. Ask a lot of questions. Yeah. Just anything that you could think of, write it down and ask the people. I mean, the worst thing that happen, they catch your attitude and tell you no. I mean, but when has no ever hurt a person? So just sometimes you gotta ask people until you get to the right person.
Yeah.
I've had that happen too. Sometimes you catch people that they weren't happy to be at work that day, so they wasn't willing to work with you, you know. But the other person was. I mean, and it's just that simple.
Right. my takeaway is don't roll your chair in the sand. Don't do it. Don't do what I did. You know, do your research and make sure wherever you're going, like if you're going to the beach, see if they got, you know, beach wheelchair rentals.
Okay.
You know, instead of, you know, ruining your chair like I did.
Unless you have your own personal beach chair, then that's different.
Yeah, unless you have your own. But other than that,
What were the beach chair? Were they like electronic or something? The tires were different. What
yeah, it's like them big sand tires.
Sand tires.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
yeah, and it's you know, motorized. The motorized chair. They got the motorized chair and also the ones where somebody has to push you.
Okay.
But I ain't want nobody pushing me.
I know that's right.
I want to move around how I want to.
Man, I felt like that when we went to Disney World. I was like, man, I don't want nobody pushing me.
Yeah.
Right? And my dad was like, son, get in the chair so we all could benefit. Which I'm cool with that because that's my family. We gonna, whatever I could do to help.
Mm-hmm.
I got in the chair. Man, I don't want nobody pushing me. And I seen all them people at Disney World when we went. And I saw how hot it was. And I was like, hey, say, which one of y'all want the first push? Like, just, see what I'm saying? Because I was like, bro, it's a lot of people. Right? I was, like, you know what? I just mellowed out, man. Push me, man.
Right.
Now, the next time we went, I had got one of them electronic, like a riding cart.
Yeah.
Oh, them was fun. You should have seen us, bro. I had put the baby on my lap, and we was riding through that. She was trying to drive the thing,
Yeah.
and we almost crashed into 2 shelves in the store. And the people was like, "Oh, that is so cute." I was like, "Yeah, wait till y'all see all this broken merchandise." Like,
Man,
I shouldn't have let her drive.
I remember the time I went to Disney. Well, I was at Disney when I was interning with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I was at I forgot what park I was at.
Oh yeah, because Florida was like your second home, where you was.
Yeah, it's my second home. And I was, you know, it was hot that day, man. And this old lady saw me rolling. She was on one of the motorized carts. She was like, "You need a ride?" She was like, "Just grab onto the back of my seat."
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I held onto the back of her seat. And she drove me.
Teamwork, I'm telling you.
She drove me in the park, and the people I was meeting there, they were already there, and they looked at me like, "What are you doing?"
No gas
like,
money.
like I was catching a ride.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like that though, man. You always, hey, one thing for sure. I don't care what people say about racism and all this different stuff going on in America.
Yeah.
And I know America got their problems. I'm not blind to it. But all I'm gonna say is, the Bible say God always have a remnant of people willing to help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I find is that you gonna run into people that's gonna give you a hard time and say some really stupid things to you. But there's always people with a good heart that's willing to help. You know, like the people that gave me food and I didn't pay for the second plate.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to walk me all the way to gate D and give me free food. But they did. You know?
Yeah.
You know, this lady didn't have to give Travis a ride, but she did.
I'm glad she did.
Yeah, you know, so, I mean, I was always taught to, like, always find the positive, you know, look for the best. And sometimes you got to sift through the bad to get to the good part of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it, though.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, y'all drop us a comment and let us know, you know, give us your travel tips, you know,
Or experiences.
or experiences, yeah.
And, you know, don't forget to catch us on Instagram at Real Talk with Chris and Travis.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.
And also, don't forget we are on TikTok. I got a lot of stuff to fix with the TikTok, but we own it. And we got an email address. It is realtalkwithchrisandtravis@yahoo.com. So feel free to hit us up there. If you got anything you want us to discuss, if you got any questions, if we've helped you in any way, let us know, man, because we be wanting the feedback, you know?
Yeah. And stay tuned.
And we'll catch y'all next week with another video.
Peace.
And we out.